What's going on, guys? It's Sensei Adam, and today we're going to be ranking the best and the worst brawlers to use in the game mode Brawl Ball. Now, how we're going to do this is the same way I've been doing all my previous tier lists, and that is from S all the way down to D. S meaning they're very overpowered and you should use them almost always, and D, in this case, it means do not play. Just don't play them in this game mode. They're just not usable, and you're usually going to put your team at a significant disadvantage. But like I always say, these are just my opinions, and you guys can have your favorite brawlers to play this game, that's fine. But these are just my opinions from playing some high-level matches. But without any further ado, let's just get started. Alright, so first off, let's go ahead and start with the D tier. I'm not going to take too much time going over this tier, because in my eyes, these three brawlers are just do not play. Don't play them in any map. It just puts you at a such significant disadvantage when you play them that you should just not play them at all. For Piper, you can't get close to the ball. You have to stay far away, and if you miss your shots, it's so easy for their goal scorer to score a goal on you. Pam, she can put some area control, but she can't do enough damage like a Primo, a Mortis, or a Bull to prevent them from going to their goal. And Bo, his damage is just too inconsistent. It's very easy to dodge, and he just doesn't do too much damage. You could make an argument that he is playable in a map like Pinhole Putt, but I would just say don't play him. He just doesn't do too much damage or put up too much pressure to defend your goal. Alright, but now that we got those out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to the C tier. Now, in my book, these are brawlers that are usable, but it's not ones that you would necessarily want to use. Like, I wouldn't catch myself playing any of these brawlers in Brawl Ball. Some of you might say that you can play and they might be good, but in my opinion, you just shouldn't play them as well. And first off, we have Ricochet. And the reason why I have him this low is because he is a long-range character and he can do a lot of damage, but a caveat to that is he cannot break any walls. And that's a really big issue, especially for Brawl Ball, because a lot of the times you're going to find that you need to break those walls to give your team a significant advantage. So if you want a long-range character, I'd suggest picking Colt over Ricochet. Number 15 on our list, we have Dynamite. And you might be seeing on his name right there, I have two little asterisks next to it. And that is because he's only playable on one map. On two of them, you don't want to play him. And the only map you want to play him is Triple Dribble. That's because there's just a bunch of walls and he has a significant advantage on that map. On the other two, there just isn't that many walls that you can take advantage of. So I wouldn't suggest playing him on those two maps. He is kind of decent on Triple Dribble, where your enemies have to weave through a bunch of walls and you can use his TNT to break them. But a Mortis is just way too good of a counter for him. And also, you're going to be seeing a lot of El Primo as well. And since they have a significant speed increase, it's going to be tough to hit his TNT on the El Primo. Moving on to number 14, which is Daryl. Now, Daryl is a goal scorer. So he's the type of guy that you want to go and try and score a goal. But the problem is, he doesn't have any special moves that you can go ahead and use to score a goal. His super is just very reckless, and it will usually put you out of a fight, and it will leave your team for a little while in a 2v3 situation. So it's not very ideal. If you want to go with a tank in Brawl Ball, I would go ahead and suggest you playing a Primo or a Bull. But most likely a Primo, because he's just really good at being a goal scorer right now. On to number 13, we have Crow. Now, I was debating where to put number 13 and number 12, and you're going to see why, because they're kind of useful. They could be considered in the B tier, but there are some significant disadvantages to playing them. Now, Crow, he's really good at defending. He's a good defensive player. But the problem is, say somebody's rushing down with a tank. Crow usually isn't going to be able to stop him like somebody like a Shelley. So I wouldn't suggest playing him, but he is definitely a playable character. And he can be really useful if your other two teammates are alive, in preventing them from rushing down towards your goal. But I just see that there are better options such as Shelley, Terra, or even Poco for that matter. Last but not least, on the C tier, we have a Brock. Now, the reason why Brock is down this low, and a lot of people would argue that he could be a lot higher, and that is his attack. His main attack is just very hard to hit, and it's hard to keep up the pressure on like an enemy Primo or an enemy Mortis. They can easily dodge your shots, and it's hard to just keep them from regenerating their HP back. The reason why he's very useful and he could probably be argued to be in the B tier is his super. It's just really useful at preventing the enemies from going to your base, and it's a very useful tool on breaking the enemy walls. So he could be on the B tier, but I just have him down here because his attacks isn't just that great. So let's move on to the B tier. Now I haven't been spending too much time on these lower rankings because I don't play them too much, if at all, in Brawl Ball, because I don't think they're just very good at playing it. But these ones I do play sometimes, but not too much. I really think that for Brawl Ball, the A and S tiers are the one that you have to play them because they're just really good at what they do on this mode. But at 11th on the B tier, we have Barley. And again, you do see those 2 asterisks for Barley, and that is because they're only playable on triple dribble. And the reason why that's a problem is triple dribble only always appears on the bottom slot for just 12 hours. And the other 2, you're going to see them on both the 3rd and the 2nd slot, so you're going to see them a lot more. So Barley, he's really essential when you play triple dribble. Well, on the other 2 maps, not so much. He's not really good because, especially now since they nerfed him, his bottle takes forever to fall down. So if you don't have walls for covers, he's just not very useful. So play him in triple dribble, put him in all your comps for triple dribble because he's really good at countering Mortis and Primos, but don't play him in backyard bolt or pinhole putt. So moving on to number 10 is Jessie. Now she really shines, especially in a map like backyard bolt where it's wide open and you can just put your turret behind a wall and they have to pass it every single time. But the problem with Jessie is if you don't have your turret up, she doesn't do too much damage. So if there's like a Primo rushing down your base or a Mortis trying to juke your shots, she really struggles against those. Unless you have your turret up, and a lot of the times if they have like a colt, he can take it out with ease from range. So if you have your turret, just put it behind a wall, and you should be able to defend really well. But watch out for like a rushing Primo or a Mortis. So I would suggest with Jessie playing somebody like a colt who does a lot of damage and can stop the enemies from advancing to your base. So we've crossed the halfway point on our list and we go on to number 9, which is Spike. And I'm probably going to get a lot of comments that say Spike is a lot better in Brawl Ball and he should probably be A tier or something. But I just don't think he's very good as a damage dealer in Brawl Ball because there's just a lot better options for that. He cannot break any walls, which is a huge issue. So you're going to find yourself going, like killing everybody, and you're going to have to go through the choke point in order to score a goal. And the issue with that is it's going to give them time to respawn and go ahead and kill you. So you want to pick a damage dealer who can break walls, such as Colt or Shelley or even a Terra. She doesn't break walls very well, but her super can break walls in case you're going on a fast break and you really need it. It's just essential to have somebody that breaks walls. But on the flip side, he does trap tanks and kill them really well, so he's a really good stopper. But I don't think he's very good against Mortis, but he can be sometimes. Moving on to number 8, and I know it's probably going to shock some of you, and of course, it's Bull. Now, I've seen Bull like ranked number 1 or number 2 in some Brawl Ball tier lists, but I have no idea why. His role is a goal scorer. That's kind of the role of all the tanks plus Mortis. But the issue is, he doesn't have any special moves that help him to score a goal. Unlike Primo, where you can just shoot the ball, use your attack to go ahead and break a wall, and also get the ball back and just shoot. His attack is just used to break like the walls in a horizontal line in backyard bowl. That's the problem. So if you try and shoot the ball up and try and use your super to score a goal, you're gonna have a lot of problems. I just think El Primo is a much better tank to use in Brawl Ball. I'm not saying Bull is completely useless. I'm just saying he doesn't have the ability or the special attributes that make him a consistent goal scoring threat like El Primo or a Mortis always do. Moving on to number 7, in the last position in our B tier, we have Nita. Now, I was kind of like doubtful where to put Nita. She should be at the bottom of the A tier or at the top of the B. But at the end, I settled for the top of the B. And the reason for that is she is pretty good, and I do use her sometimes in some team comps, but she just doesn't have enough damage output to go ahead and single-handedly stop somebody like a Bull or a Mortis or a El Primo if they're charging at the goal. where somebody just like her, like Shelley, when she has her super, she can single-handedly just prevent El Primo from scoring a goal with her super. She's just that good. But Nita's bear is just really good at creating like a fast break and getting them to go back towards their goal and getting them to all clump up so your team can shoot them and score a goal. So you could put Nita at the bottom of the 8 if you want, but in my opinion she just isn't as strong as somebody like a Shelley. Alright, so now it's time for the Brawl Ball big boys. These are the ones you always see at high level Brawl Ball gameplay. These top 6 make up all of the gameplay at the top level. I shouldn't say all, but I should say like 75% of the brawlers you're gonna see at 400 plus trophies is a combination of these 6. And entering at number 6, we have Poco. Poco, especially in Backyard Bowl, but also in a map like Pinhole Putt, he's just a great area control character, and he prevents anybody from rushing down your base because they know that they're going to take about 2,600 damage from all of his attacks. So they're not going to be able to rush towards your goal without taking a bunch of damage. But I wouldn't advise when playing Poco just using all 3 attacks at once. What you want to do is just use one attack every second or so, just to like threaten them so you know that when they go into your territory, you can weed them out and not let them go in with full HP. So you just want to keep fluttering your attacks, preventing them from getting their HP back, and when you do that, it just makes them go back to their base and your team can push up even more. Poco, I wouldn't say he's like my best choice, but he's a really good choice if you really need an area control brawler. On to number 5, and taking a giant hit from last balance changes, we have a Mortis. And you guys know why he took a huge hit. His dash range got decreased from 3 to 2.33. That did make him better in other game modes, but it made him a lot worse in Brawl Ball. Don't get me wrong, he's still a very useful goal scorer when put around the right teammates, but it's just a lot more skill based and it's a lot more difficult to rush into their base. You can still single dash dribble, but it's a lot more inconsistent. Sometimes you're going to find yourself double tapping the screen, and for some reason you're not going to catch up to the ball in time. It might be because your internet connection, but before the update it was a lot harder for that to happen. He is though, in my opinion, still the second best goal scorer behind El Primo, but he did take a huge hit from the last balance changes like I said, because if I were to make this before the update, he would be number 1 on my list because he's just so good, and you always saw him in a team comp because he was so good at juking and going to the enemy goal undetected, like from the sides. But now since his dash range is decreased, it's a lot harder to do that. You're going to find yourself going thinking you're going to make it, and your dash range wasn't long enough, so you're going to be behind, taking a lot of fire. But he's still pretty good, so number 5 for Mortis. Moving on to number 4, we have Colt. Now Colt also took a huge hit last balance changes. His range got decreased from 10 to 9, and his star power made him a lot slower, so it's harder to juke some shots, but he's still pretty useful in Brawl Ball. He's one of the best brawlers you can put beside your Mortis, so you can go ahead and break all those walls so your Mortis has an open shot and can juke a lot better around your opponents to score that goal. He's also a great damage dealer, so if like you have a Primo or a Bull or even a Mortis rushing down your base, you can prevent them from doing damage, and sometimes he's even a good chip damage dealer. So let's say there's a Primo about to regen and you just hit one of your 6 bullets. That's enough to prevent them from regenerating for the next 3 seconds, which in Brawl Ball time is a really long time. That makes them have to go back to their base and try and regen. So in my opinion, Colt is still really useful, but if I did this ranking last balance changes, just like Mortis, I would put Colt at number 2 and on the S tier, because he was just that good and you always saw him almost everywhere. Moving on to number 3, and to top off the A tier, we have Shelley. Now Shelley, you've probably seen some memes on Reddit which is really funny, like if Shelley has her super in Brawl Ball, everybody runs away. And that's true. Shelley, once she has her super, she's so deadly. Everybody just looks at the Shelley and tries to get her to waste her super. She's just a really good goal preventer, and even if she's like 1v3, she can hold out enough time for your team to respawn and get back into the fight. Her super is such a deadly weapon that if a Primo or a Mortis is rushing down, they'll think twice before going to try and score a goal. What they're usually going to try and do when you have her super loaded up is to try and juke and get you to waste it. But even if you somehow waste it, if you get close up, you can do a lot of damage to your opponents while also loading your super in around just 3 hits. So that's why I have Shelley this high up. Her versatility is useful in almost any team comp that you play in Brawl Ball. So now we reach the top kahunas of the ladder. The 2 best brawlers for Brawl Ball that I'm seeing so much in the current meta. And first off is probably the best current goal scorer, which is El Primo. Now, El Primo, in the previous meta before the balance changes, I would never have put him in the S tier. And that is before the current meta. You usually saw it was Shelley, Mortis, and Colt. And he usually never stood a chance against that combo. He couldn't get close enough. But now, since all of them got nerfed, he's just a beast. And he's probably the best current goal scorer that you can use in your team comps. And that is because of his ability. So, what do you want to do when you play El Primo? Well, what you want to do is just load up your super. So go ahead and load up your super. Once you have it loaded up, have your teammates pass the ball for you. And once they have that, you can have somebody like a Terra or a Shelley try and get them to be immobilized. And what you do, you kick the ball forward at the wall, use your super to jump on the ball, and then in that scenario, what you're going to do is just break the wall and have the ball back. So you're going to just shoot it at the goal, boom, free goal. And that's how effective Primo is. And that combo is useful in almost any map, especially the 2 that you see the most often, which is Backyard Bowl or Pinhole Putt, which just has 1 wall right next to the goal. So if you do that move and there's no opponents around you to stop you, it's game over. It's almost a free goal because you're going to land on the ball and you can just walk it in or just shoot the goal. It's that simple. El Primo is just the best goal scorer you can use right now, and he's almost unstoppable in most cases. So now, the #1 brawler to play in Brawl Ball is Terra. Now, I have her at #1 for some specific reasons. I'm not saying she's going to single-handedly carry your team to victory, but I'm just saying she's the best support / defensive character of any current brawler in the Brawl Ball meta right now. So, why is Terra really good in the current meta? Well, it's pretty obvious. Her super is just so versatile. It's really good at defending, but really good on offense. Let's say you have a Mortis or a Primo. You can go ahead and use your super to get 1 or 2 people and have your Primo or a Mortis get a clear path to the goal. So once her super is loaded up, everybody's watching out for that. Whenever I'm on voice chat with my teammates, I'm like, Terra has her super, watch out. Terra has her super, don't group up. And that's another thing. In Brawl Ball, you're going to find yourself grouped up a lot of the time, because that's how you usually push or defend your goal. You're going to be grouped up just trying to prevent it. So Terra has a big advantage when you're trying to defend or doing a push to your goal. Since you're going to be grouped up, her super can just stop you and do a lot of damage just to load up another super. So Terra, #1. You're going to be seeing her a lot, especially in a combo with a Mortis or an El Primo. I hope everybody enjoyed the tier list, and thanks for watching. I plan on doing this for every single game mode, probably every single Thursday. So probably next Thursday, I'll do one for either Bounty, Heist, or Smash and Grab. What do you guys think? Do you want to see more tier lists? I really would like these lists because it just shows you guys what the current meta in each single game mode is, and which brawler are the best ones you can play for those game modes, so you guys can level them up to 500 as fast as you guys can.